Hello and welcome to another video. Today we will be creating this beautiful sign in sign up option. You can see that it has logos, email, password, and I'll be using font awesome, or maybe let's see which icon I'll be using. There's sign in button, then you click on the sign up button, you can see the sign up and you can see that welcome page, please log in with your personal info, and whenever the sign in page is, there is hello friend, enter your personal email instead of welcome back. Now this is what we will create. Let's start with the font awesome. Now when you go to fontawesome.com, you can click on start and you can write your email here, and then you will receive a link. After typing your email and send kit code, you will receive a link on your email. You will just have to paste that link here so that you can use the logos from this website. Now let's start by creating our div of class container. Inside the div of class container, I will also create an ID of container as well. After that, let's create another div of class form container and sign up. Basically, there are two forms. Sign up container, there are two forms for sign up container and also a sign in container. So we will create two forms and a form with a heading 1 of sign up. Just open it. Now you can see I'll just arrange it. Okay, now let's start our div of class social container. Inside the div of class social container, I'll create an anchor of href, a class of social, and inside my anchor tag, I will use the font awesome. Basically, let's take the Instagram icon. Now I click on it. I will simply copy this and paste it here, and I will get my first icon. Now I'll do the same, almost same thing for the next two icons as well. Also give it a class of social. Copy it, paste it, and now let's take my remaining two icons. For the one is the Google icon. Click on Google, copy it, paste it. Now let's take the last one, which is TikTok. You can use another icon or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Now I've got my three icons. Now after that, let's create a span or use your email for registration. Create an input of type text. Placeholder should be name. Copy it, paste it 3 times. Now let's take their type to email, and name placeholder should be email as well. And for the last one, it should be password. Placeholder should be password as well. Now let's create a button. On click, and I'll return false. We will understand why I've returned false, but we will do the main logic in our JavaScript. Okay, now let's simply create a div of class sign form container again, which I created. Now this time only I'm creating sign in container. The difference is just sign up and sign in container. I will create a form again, create a heading 1 of sign in. Almost doing the same thing, div of class social container. Now I will simply copy the above 3, paste them here, and do the same for span, but this time I will write or use your account. Now I will basically create my inputs. I will take the last two inputs because I don't need name in my sign in. I'll just take email and password for the sign in, and creating an href for get your password option. Now let's create a button, copy it, paste it, and just change it to sign in. Okay. Now we will create a div of class overlay container, because you can see whenever I click on sign in, there was a separate page on the right side, and same for the sign up as well. So I'm creating those two pages, you can say, or those two containers. Div class overlay panel overlay left. Heading 1 should be welcome back. If you are already signed in, you should see this. Sign up, then you should see this. Please log in with your personal information. Create a button of class ghost. ID should be sign in and sign in. Now almost copy it, paste it, and change the left to right and change the information. And sign in should be sign up. Okay, let's change the information. Hello. You can say hello friend, or just change the paragraph as well quickly. Enter your personal information or info to get started. Change it to sign up. Also change the ID to sign up. Now I am almost done with my index.html. All the 4 things are complete. Now I need to style my page. Basically, I will first start off by creating root, and let's create the elements. First will be my main color, and I will choose a main color which is 6DD5ED. Let's create a secondary color as well, and the color should be #2193B0. Let's start off by making a gradient as well, linear gradient, and it should be 135 degrees, variable of main color. Okay, now simply add the secondary color as well. Now simply box sizing should be border box, and for the body background should be #F6F5F7. Font family, you can add any font family. I'll just simply choose any font family. Display should be flex. Flex direction should be column. Align item should be center. Justify content should be center. Min height should be 100 VH. Margin should be 1 REM0. Now let's start with the heading 1. Font weight should be bold. Margin should be 0. For the paragraphs, font size should be 14 pixels. Font weight should be 100. Line height should be 20 pixels. Letter spacing should be 0.5 pixel. Margin should be 20 pixel and 20 pixels, 30 pixels. So for the social container, you can see there was a social container class, and I am styling that class. It was both in sign up and sign in. Let's simply give it a margin of 20 pixels and 0. After that, take the anchor tag in the social container. You can see there is an anchor tag inside social containers. So I will give it a border of 1 pixel solid, and the color should be DDDDDD, whitish color. Now give it a border radius of 50%. Display should be inline flex. Justify content should be center. Line item should be center. Margin should be 0 and 5 pixels. Height should be 40 pixels. Width should be 40 pixels as well for the all of my anchor or social tags. Now you can see there is a span in both sign up and sign in container. Let's quickly give them a font size of 12 pixels. For the anchor tags, color of anchor tag should be 333. Font size should be 14 pixels. Text decoration should be none. So to remove all the underlines, margin should be 15 pixels and 0. Now let's design our button and give it a cursor or pointer. Border radius should be 20 pixels. Border should be 1 pixel solid, and variable should be main color. Color should be white. Font size should be 12 pixels. Font weight should be bold. Padding should be 12 pixels and 45 pixels. And letter spacing should be 1 pixel. Text transform should be uppercase for the buttons, and transition should be transform 80 millisecond and ease out for all of my 4 buttons. Now let's take, whenever we hover over the button, then we should get a background of variable secondary color. When you can see whenever we hover over them. Now also add a button of active. Whenever the button is active, transform scale to 0.95 to basically change the scale, their scale. Also, when the button is focused, outline should be none. I don't like the outline. And button.ghost, background should be transparent. Background color should be transparent. Okay. Now give it a border of color of white. You can see for the buttons of ghost class, you can see here. For the last two. Now take the form. Give the form a background color of whitish. Display should be flex. Align item should be center. Justify content should be center as well. Flex direction should be column. Padding should be 50 pixels. Height should be 100%. Text align should be center as well, like this. Now it looks better. Now the input should be background color of whitish. Border should be none. Padding should be 12 pixels and 15 pixels. Margin should be 8 pixels and 0. Width should be 100%. Also give it a font family of sans serif, like this. Now take the container. You can see that there is the main ID of container and class of container as well. So just paste it. Okay. Now give it a background of color of white. Border radius should be 10 pixels for the entire container. Box shadow should be 14 pixels, 28 pixels, and RGBA of 000 and an opacity of 0.25. Now 10 pixels, 10 pixels, RGBA of 000 and an opacity of 0.25 for the both sides, you can see. Now give it a position of relative. Overflow should be hidden. Height should be 768 pixels. Width should be 480 pixels. And margin max width should be 100%. Like this. I will give the form of container. Take the class of form container, you can see here. Taking this class. Now give it a position of absolute. Top should be 0. Width should be 100%. Transition should be all 0.6 second and ease in out for the transition. Now you might be wondering what's happening, so I will change and make it responsive as well. You will get to know what's happening in a while. Now let's take the sign in container. Basically, you will understand once we are done with this, you will understand how I have aligned it. Top should be 0, height should be 50%, z index should be 2. Now for the container of right, if it's a right container, obviously, you might remember there was right panel active. You might remember that there was one was left and one was right. Also, I will use this in my JavaScript for the active class. I will create it in JavaScript, but I am just showing to you or developing it before that. Just adding this simple transition, nothing else. I will create these classes in my JavaScript. Don't worry about it. Now let's copy the sign up and do the almost same. Do the same with the sign up container. Height should be 50%. Z index, or maybe opacity of 0. Z index should be 1. Now almost do the same thing, just copy it, paste it, but this time it's a sign up container. And for the sign up container, give it a text text transform translate y 100%. Opacity should be 1. Z index should be 5. Animation show, I will create this in a while, 0.6 second. I will create this show animation. You can see like this. You can give any other name as well, but I will just given this name. For 0 to 49.99%, it should have an opacity of 0 and Z index should be 1, and from 50% to 100%, it should have an opacity of 1 and Z index should be 5. Okay, now I will show you in a while. Now I will take this overlay container, this because I need to show this as well, right? So I will give it a position of absolute. There are two overlays. Basically, left should be 0, top should be 50%, height should be 50%, width should be 100%, overflow should be hidden. Transition, transform, 0.6 second, ease in out. Z index should be 100. You can see now it's back. One of my, actually both are back, but I need to show only one. I will do that. Now let's take the again same, which I will be creating in my JavaScript. I have not created them yet, but I will create them in JavaScript. And also give it a translate of minus 100%. I think I am missing something as well, but I will look back. Let's create dot overlay class. Background should have a variable of secondary color. Background should be variable of gradient. Background repeat should be no repeat. Background size should be cover. Background position should be 0, 0. Color should be white. Position should be relative. Top should be minus 100%. Width should be 100%. Height should be 200%. Transform, translate y 0. Transition, transform, 0.6 second, ease in out. Now you can see I am getting to somewhere. Now let's create a container, right active panel, overlay, and give it a transform of translate y 50% and overlay you can see overlay panel basically. Position of absolute, display of flex, align item center, justify content center, flex direction should be column, padding should be 0 and 40 pixels, text align should be center, left should be 0, width should be 100%, and height should be 50%, and transform should translate 0, and transition should transform 0.6 second ease in out. Now I will give it an overlay of left. Let's take the class overlay f left. You can see there are two, for one for overlay left and one for overlay right. Transform, translate y minus 20%. Container right active panel, which I'll create in my JavaScript. Overlay left should be transform, translate y. Overlay right, but bottom 0, transform, translate y of 0 again. Container right active panel active, overlay right, transform, translate y 20%. You can see I'm getting to somewhere now. Now add a media query, which is min width. If the min width or the size of the screen is 768 pixels, then this should happen. Body should have a margin of minus 20 pixels, 0, 50 pixels. After that, take the class of container. Max or maybe width should be 768 pixels. Max width should be 100%. Height should be 480 pixels. After that, form container, and inside the form container, give a top of 0, height of 100%, width should be 50%. Now take the sign in container, left of 0, width of 50%, height of 100%. Now take the container right panel active, which will be created in JavaScript sign in container, transform, translate y 100%, or just change to translate x basically. Sign in, sign up container, do the same for the sign up container. Left should be 0, width should be 50%, the height should be 100%. Do the same for sign up container. Transform, translate x, and this time 0 or maybe 100%. Now I will take the overlay, which to be shown, top should be 0, left should be minus 100%, height should be 100%, width should be 200%, transform should be translate x0, taking the container right panel active overlay, transform, translate x 50%. Now the overlay panel, top should be 0, height should be 10% or maybe 100%, width should be 50%, transform, translate x to 0. Okay, it's changing, but it's not changing my green thing. Let me see. I'll fix this. Just give it an overlay left of transform minus 20%, or maybe give a translate x of minus 20%. container right panel active, overlay left, translate X should be 0, overlay right, padding should be, for the overlay right should be 0, top should be 0, left should be 50%, transform should be translate X 0, again for the overlay right, transform should be translate X 20%. I think I need to add one more thing, add background of main color variable for the button basically. Now also need to add class here. I will simply overlay container, and inside the overlay container left should be 50%, top should be 0, height should be 100%, width should be 50%. Now taking another class, again doing the same for the active right panel, overlay container, transform should be translate X minus 100%. Now when we change the screen, you can see how it changes. Now when we click on the sign up, the next thing should show up. We are almost done with our style.css. Let's do the small JavaScript. We just need to do a small JavaScript. Const sign up button, document dot get element by ID, sign up, taking the ID of sign up. You can see here, sign up ID. Now take another, to make another variable for the sign in as well. Document dot get element by ID for the sign in as well. Now we need to create a const of container, get element by ID, creating a class of ID of container. Sign up button should have an event listener. Whenever we click on the sign up button and give it a class, it should have a click option, creating an arrow function. Then the container should class list dot add right panel active, which we designed in our style.css already. And if that's not the case, then sign in button dot add event listener, click, creating an arrow function again, container dot class list dot add remove right panel active. Basically you can see that there are right and left, there are two. Okay, it's working, but it's not working. Why? Let me see. It's right panel active. Yes, it's right panel active, not active panel. It should be panel active. Now it should work. I think it's complete now. I hope you like the video. If you like it, subscribe it. Thank you so much.